The Mike Devine chimes.
That sounds right now.
And don't forget the Mark Panopoulos.
And of
Loosey
course,
Goosey chime chime.
the Loosey Goosey chime time, exactly. I just sorry I had to burp there. You ever notice when you get older you burp a lot and you get a lot of air?
Oh God,
in your
yeah.
body? You ever notice that after a Whopper you burp for about a month and you still taste it for some reason? I don't know why.
still
There's
taste
something in the Whopper that
See the new McChicken Big Mac now?
Huh? Yeah? Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Oh, guys.
I haven't tried that yet. All right,
Well, all right. Welcome back once again. Our Air Radio kind of
Loosey Goosey.
it's loosey goosey, of course, as we well know. But yeah, what do we call it now? Because we're not really doing the news anymore. We've got some funny stories
We'll
to
call
tell
it
you and the trivia.
the Top 40 Timeline video show.
There we go.
Because we do the same thing. We talk about rock and roll, and we talk about funny stories. So we've got rid of the news a bit, because if you want to watch, if you want to know what's going on in the four corners of the world, then go watch CNN.
Fox,
we're not CNN.
whatever.
We're a podcast about music and
Well, maybe the
stuff.
podcast on this guy.
Yeah. On this guy here.
We should check this out actually when we're done.
This is now what I'm doing is I'm taking the funny stories that we look at in the
That's
radio show every week, and the best two shows we're going to start featuring on the podcast. The best two stories. This one from March the 8th. A pair of men recording a podcast at a Houston cafe captured video of the moment an SUV smashed into the window right behind them when they were on the air with their podcast.
Yeah.
They'd have to come up. Podcast host Nathan Reeves and his guest, friend and photographer Alexei Reyes were recording the 5th episode of Reeves' podcast inside the Toot Suite Cafe in downtown Houston. Just an ordinary weekend in Houston, and they're doing a podcast. Kind of like what we do for Halton Hills, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
But they were in Houston. We were just talking to the camera, and the car smashed into our backs. I go, instant shock. He says, I'm not sure what's going on. And if you watch the video, which we have linked up on Big Daddy's Morning Funnies on Facebook,
right,
you can see these kids are sitting there. And the thing is the table in front of them was bolted to the floor.
No way.
Luckily, it had stopped right at the chair line, the back chair line there. But you got to check out the video. Go to Big Daddy's Morning Funnies and check out the video. And the crash was reported to Houston police, and no one was injured. I guess it was some kind of medical problem that the guy had, or he missed a light. But anyway, this weekend's show is brought to you by the brand new Backdoor Jimmy Varmint Collar, by the way. For the first 100 customers, we'll throw in Backdoor Jimmy's Star Trek Enterprise pizza cutter. Just thought I'd mention that off the top.
Maybe clarify too, Big Daddy's Funnies is on Facebook.
It's on Facebook, Big Daddy's Morning Funnies.
A great page. If you want a good laugh, it's great to do in the morning when you're having your coffee. It brightens up your day a little bit.
Yeah. There's another one.
This is kind of a scary one. I'm not afraid of snakes myself, but a lot of people are.
Oh, God.
March 6th. Oh, there we go. See that reaction right away.
With women, you're going to get rats and snakes, man.
So, back on March 6th, animal rescuers in New Jersey are trying to find the owner of a piebald ball python that was found by a surprised resident who peeked behind their fridge.
I don't like looking behind fridges.
The Liberty Humane Society said the snake was found behind the refrigerator in Jersey City's one of the residents' apartments, and it was initially mistaken for an albino corn snake, which was taken to the Liberty Humane Society, whereas this is where they identified it as a piebald python. The snake, dubbed Banana by rescuers, was found on the 29th floor of the apartment in Newport District, and the Humane Society had made the comments all over Facebook. This is a socialized domestic snake and is likely someone's escaped pet, they commented, and rescuers said Banana will be put up for adoption if no owner is identified in 7 days.
I don't like spiders and snakes.
Jim Stafford, 1974.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We should bring him in as a mascot.
Yeah. Jeez. Pure yellow. Again, we've linked it up on Big Daddy's
I saw a
Morning
quick
Funnies.
picture of it, and you could, think that it's one of those albino ones. Yeah.
Just a fat old snake there.
Pearl wouldn't be happy.
No, Pearl would be very
no.
upset. Pearl is your parrot, by the way.
Yes.
She's our mascot. You replace her?
Yeah.
I'm going to go through trouble.
Yeah.
Go through withdrawals.
He's no problem.
Ah,
All right,
missed that.
so Leah's trivia. Here we go, rock and roll trivia time.
The best part of the show.
On the Top 40 Timeline video show. We call it that now, I guess. Here's a wee tidbit to kick us off.
This kills me.
During Michael Jackson's tours, his pet chimp Bubbles had his own suite and wardrobe of 20 designer outfits. Him and that monkey. I remember that monkey.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
It
was
went everywhere with him at
one
one time.
One of the most famous monkeys in the world at one point.
You know, I remember Chatter the Chum Chimp? Chum radio used to in the 60s.
No.
Now, I'm going back to when I
I
was a
do
kid.
remember. I don't remember listening to it, but I do remember.
And they used to take him down to CNE. He used to sit the CNE in there with Jay Nelson and Bob McAdory and all the guys at Chum. Chatter the Chum Chimp. Yeah. I'll do one more story and I'll throw it over to you. In 1967, Jimi Hendrix was quoted as saying, and this is a beautiful thing, he said, "All the things I thought were important before I had a hit record are just as important now. The beautiful things are still the same, the sunset and the dew on the grass. No material wealth changes the way I feel about those things."
Very
Isn't
true.
that the truth?
That
eh?
is so true.
Because I've been up there and I'm
Yeah.
down here. I know.
Yeah.
He's
no,
exactly
you
right.
learn to, you know, as we age and mature, you start to learn what's important, what isn't important anymore, what, you know, things you can't change. Why get yourself bent out of shape about stuff like that?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
You know, being angry all the time. You're physically draining your body and your brain, and why? Why? If you can't change or do anything about it, there's no point.
There's nothing I like more than on a hot summer day is walking down the road and smelling freshly cut grass. And I know it's bad for the grass because they're screaming. They're not happy. The blades of grass are not happy. But it's just one of those smells. And when you're walking, and you know, another thing, when you're walking in the woods in the wintertime after a snowfall and it's so quiet, you know, you get that
But
quiet.
you can hear the creaking of
Creaking.
the trees.
Yeah. It's funny, the one thing I do miss, and I brought it up to Melanie the other day, Gord's hot dogs. God,
Well,
I
we
miss
got,
Gord's
yeah,
hot
now you're
dogs.
getting me going.
Gord, we need your hot dogs, buddy. And I'm going to try and get them there for the opening, like we did last year, for the opening
Why
of
don't we
Lee's
do
Garage.
that? Why don't we do
We'll
that?
get them there for Lee's Garage, because he made a killing there that day. That was, he did very well. He sold a lot.
Well, there's a lot of
bloody hot dogs.
overweight people that like hot dogs.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, he's
Well,
got to make a
saves
killing.
me from barbecuing for supper each Friday.
Exactly. All right. Way back when the you know, the Pilgrims roamed the land. 1937, Benny Goodman brings his swinging jazz sound to the Paramount Theater in New York City, where adoring, mostly teenage fans dance in the aisles while it's going on. A newspaper report said the kids were jitterbugging to the music for the first time. The phrase is ever used to describe that dance style.
See, I thought that phrase came from the 50s, but it came from 1937.
1937. Yeah. Because
Jitterbug.
that's what they thought. The way they were dancing, they looked like jitterbugs, right? Like, so,
Now you got me. Now you put a worm in my head.
There you go.
Wake me up before you go is right here, baby.
Oh, no.
Jitterbug, jitterbug,
Do the
wake me
jitterbug.
up before you go.
the
My
jitterbug.
God, get rid
Do
of a
the
doctor.
jitterbug.
Hurry up.
Do the
that one.
jitterbug. I'll do this other one. 56. Bobby Darin makes his first television appearance singing Rock Island Line on the Dorsey Brothers stage show. The budding entertainer is clearly nervous. He keeps glancing at his palms where he's written down the song lyrics.
And you
And
know,
they actually have pictures of it.
Yeah.
There's photos of him doing it.
and you know, the amazing thing is you couldn't ask for a more talented guy than
Oh, God,
Bobby
yeah.
Darin. I mean,
Yeah.
if he would have lived, he would have been as big as Sinatra
Yeah.
in Vegas. He would have been Dean Martin. This guy, when he was still cutting his teeth at 56.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
Well, really,
all
that was
his
his,
hits
that
were
was
to
his
come.
first big appearance, too,
Yeah,
right? So-
and he was such a great performer. I mean, even in the 60s, late 60s there. Abraham, was it Abraham Martin and John? He didn't do that, did he? No, that was... No, yeah, I think
Was
he
it?
did a version of that song, I remember. I could be wrong, but Bobby Darin was just the ultimate. To go from Mac the Knife to Splish Splash, you know what I mean? That's a
Splish
big...
Splash, I was
I always
taking
thought
a
he was the
bath.
one that created
All
Mac the
along
Knife,
a
but he was
Saturday
not.
night.
No, See what you're learning by posting all this?
It's just a jump to the left.
That's right. 1975, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which started in London in 1973, opens on Broadway at the Belasco Theatre with Meatloaf playing both Eddie and Dr. Scott. And it's later made into a movie with Meatloaf reprising his role, or reprising, depending on which side of the tracks you're from, as the motorcycle riding Eddie, of course. And that was, of course, one of those big. Everyone saw the Rocky Horror Picture
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every time it comes on, Mel. Oh, we gotta watch it.
I think
it's
even in my generation, it was big too.
Oh yeah, especially around Halloween too.
Oh God, yeah.
1981, Jimmy Page takes the stage for the first time since the breakup of Led Zeppelin, where he joins Jeff Beck for some encores of the London show.
See, those are like concerts like that. I love, I'd love to be at just because of that whole aura when somebody like that walks on stage and you're not expecting it as a an audience member. You just kind of, because Mel was talking, she wanted us to go see Peter Gabriel. He's coming to Toronto, and I've seen Peter in a phenomenal show because it's a performance. It's not just a band up on stage playing. And but the problem I find is that over the years, being a musician for so many years and being backstage, it's hard to be just sitting in the audience watching. I'm used to being able to go backstage and hang out and do that type of stuff. And the prices they charge now are just getting, like, I've seen ticket prices up at $350, $400 for a ticket to a concert.
I'm just looking up Chris Stapleton's tickets. 600 and change.
Yeah,
My
for
God.
what?
For what? The guy's
For
going to go
one
on
ticket.
stage.
I better get a blowjob with that at least.
600
At
bucks.
Half a
least.
bar of gold even?
Yeah, at least, man.
Yeah.
$600. That is
That's-
unbelievable.
It sure isn't like it
Yeah.
used to be in the 60s and
My
70s
God.
at £6.
Yeah,
Or hopping the fence.
you're not that good.
That's it.
God,
All
I think
right.
it was $7.50 for the Super Trap. I think it was when I went to see him. $7.50. I can't remember. Something like that. Go ahead.
We're getting back to Leah's trivia. Bill Haley and the Comets actually began their career as Bill Haley's Saddle Pals, and they were a country music act. And
And a damn fine one too, son.
damn fine one, I must admit. I got to tell you, in 1980, John London, I can't say that name with that accent. John Linden from the Sex Pistols was quoted, "I think rock and roll is a media manipulation and exploitation and corruptness and bullshit."
Well, those guys, they.
Well, they were so hardcore into the punk scene. Yet, I don't think you would have had the punk scene without rock and roll.
Exactly.
I actually play Sex Pistols on the radio now somewhere in the world on my show.
Somewhere in the world.
No, on Party Dog Radio.
Yeah.
I played the Sex. I was listening
With
to
Mike
myself the other
Devine.
day with Mike Devine, of course.
Yeah, right.
He was saying, "Hey, we got some Sex Pistols come up on your show tonight." I said, "Who are they? Never heard of them before." All right, let's carry on here. We've got 1969. Wiggin sisters Dorothy, Helen, Betty, and Rachel record "Philosophy of the World" as the Shags. Numerous music critics and historians consider it the worst album ever recorded. But years later, both Frank Zappa and Kurt Cobain call it one of their favorites ever made. Of course, they were on mushrooms at the time,
Yes.
and probably very high on LSD
Yes.
and doing other
Actually,
things.
Zappa didn't do drugs.
But have you ever heard of that album?
No.
No, I don't think I'm going to even have a
No.
bob.
I have.
Have you? What is it? It's just, what is it?
It's
Just
old, and the three
it's garbage.
sisters. The only thing I didn't know is I always wondered, were they triplets? Because they all look almost exactly alike.
Do they have those big hairs with the bun on top and everything
No, they
else?
all have long hair.
Yeah,
and,
oh, God.
Yeah.
Stay away from that
Yeah.
album, folks.
Stay
and,
away.
we won't be playing that anytime soon on the radio. I'll do one more here. 1986, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry of Aerosmith go to Magic Ventures Studio in New York, where they record parts of their song "Walk This Way." So Run DMC can transform it into a hip-hop jam. Neither act is thrilled about the collaboration. Run DMC's producer Rick Rubin spearheaded the effort, but the resulting track is a huge hit,
It's a massive
revitalizing Aerosmith's career and delivering a new, mostly white audience to the rappers. And you know what? I have to agree with it. I loved, not as much as the original, but it was a close second.
They
But I-
did a
and
fabulous job.
they
of
did a great job on
collaboration.
that.
I tell you, the age of that song, so it's 1986 when this song basically was recorded. I believe it was released in 87. I still play that at weddings,
Yeah.
and people get up and dance to it. I could put on this Aerosmith version, and nobody will move.
Yep.
I put on that one, and they get up and they move.
But it's got the beat,
It's
right? It's
exactly.
got the
Got
dance
the
beat.
dance beat, exactly. And I think they did a remarkable job with
They
it,
did.
too.
I
Oh,
agree. I think
hands
it
down.
turned out, and they turned out to be great friends after that, and actually collaborated. Well, Steven did. He collaborated on a couple of run stuff as well, so it was very cool. 1990 at the Central in Seattle, Mother of Love Bone played their last show as their lead singer Andrew Wood dies of a heroin overdose 10 days later. Jeff Ament and Stone Dessard from the band formed Pearl Jam later that year. With
Isn't it
Eddie
funny?
Vedder.
Isn't it funny how
And that
things
wasn't a
work
mistake
out?
either.
No. Well,
Beautiful.
it's you know, one door opens, another door closes, as they say all the time. So yeah, very, very cool and interesting how that, you know, how they got together and as well. I'll do one more. 2005, a tour bus driver for the Dave Matthews Band pleads guilty to dumping sewage into the Chicago River, which hit a group of tourists cruising on an architectural tour. Stephen Wool denied the charges at first, but admitted it when confronted with surveillance video. The band was not on the bus at the time.
And it wasn't just a few little turds,
No.
I might add. It covered the top.
Oh my
And
God.
it was like a cruise. You know, like Niagara Falls when you have the Maid of the Mist.
Yeah.
Very similar, not quite as big, but very similar.
Oh my God.
And there is actual turds all over the top. of this
That's
one.
what you
Oh.
call a shit show.
Shit show. Right there.
That's what you call a shit show, if I ever
How,
heard
how
one.
much did they pay for those tickets just to see that
See,
shit
now
show?
there's one story I must admit through the eons of time I missed completely. 2011, Phil Collins clears up rumors about why he's retiring. Speculation has included health problems, bad reviews, depression, and an interest in devoting time to his collection of Alamo memorabilia. But I'm sorry.
Okay.
People have strange fetishes, I guess.
Make this up.
But Phil Collins states the real reason: so I can be a full-time father to my two young sons on a daily basis. And of course, since then, his health has diminished.
It is
quite a bit.
declined very much. You know, obviously, I'm a
Drummer.
I'm a huge fan of Phil. He's also a left-handed drummer, and in the industry, he was one of the biggest left-handed drummers that
Well,
ever hit the industry.
Just look at his talent, the
yeah,
singing
yeah.
on everything while he's playing.
Yeah.
I
That
love
is
Phil.
not an easy
Yeah.
task.
No, I've done it, and it's not
It's
easy.
not.
You
That's,
want
that's
you want to
not
have
easy.
your multitasking brain on fire when you're doing
Now, if
that.
you want to put a great car song on, like that
In
you're
the
going to
Air Tonight.
react to, like Bohemian Rhapsody would be,
Yeah.
In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
Everybody
and
does
how
the
many people, while they were driving,
really
has
did?
hit the dash when
Still.
the drum
Still.
comes in?
Only
See,
I
I-
can just do
as a
that.
drummer, I
do
don't.
everything.
I as a drummer,
Iconic.
oh God, yeah. Oh,
And
everybody.
it just sends shivers up your
I
spine.
know
when you
people
hear it.
that listen to nothing but country for the most part, but on that song, they know exactly what they're doing, right? So interesting. Like I say, I've always loved Phil. And unfortunately, yes, his health is not good at all. He can't perform anymore. He's just
I'll do a couple of quickies and then hand it back to you. A wee tidbit: in 1953, when Hank Williams died of a heart attack, he was at #1 on the country charts with "I'll Never Get It" or "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive." Oh, you threw that one right at me. I
Yeah.
didn't see that one coming. Let me read that again, because it's so funny. In 1953, when Hank Williams died of a heart attack, he was at #1 on the country charts with "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive." I love it. Absolutely classic. And I'm not laughing at the fact Hank Williams died.
No, obviously.
I'm just laughing at the irony of the whole
exactly.
thing, you know? And that guy Bob Lehman back in the 60s, early 60s, had a song called "Let's Talk About Living," and then he died a couple of weeks later. You just-
Don't write songs about it, people.
You can't make stuff like that up. You really can't.
Manifested in a very bad way.
Bad way.
Yes.
And one more, Pete Burns of Dead or Alive. His first concert was Alice Cooper and School's Out. The first concert he ever went to.
Very cool.
Dead or alive. He looks like a woman now or a man or something. What he's done with his face.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Yeah, he looks, but it's almost like Madonna.
Yeah,
It's
his
that
face is all
Yeah.
puffed up.
Yeah.
See,
Is that the same
he's got
guy?
the
I
same
think.
look.
Yeah.
I don't think the surgery went the way they were hoping it
No.
to go.
No.
1965, David Bowie makes his first TV appearance when his band, the Manish Boys, appears on the British show Gadzooks. At the time, he's still known as David Jones.
And he had a lot of hits in England.
A lot of hits in England. Oh, he started at what, 12 years old, touring around the little pubs and stuff,
Him and
right?
Peter Frampton with his best friend. Grew up with him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
1971, Radio Hanoi, which is a propaganda radio station set up by the North Vietnamese Army to broadcast to American troops serving in Vietnam, goes on the air with a recording of Jimi Hendrix's version of the Star-Spangled Banner. And that was the station that Robin Williams movie was based on.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Good Morning,
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
That was a fantastic
that
movie.
was,
And that was
Robin
based on
Williams.
a true story.
That was
guy.
Hanoi Radio.
Yeah. Vietnam radio and all that. And
Yeah.
Hanoi was the other guy.
I'll do this one small one here, and you can take over Beavis and Butthead. Rolling
Who
Stone.
are you calling Beavis and Butthead?
No, you're Beavis. I'm Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead. Here we go.
As long as he's Butthead, not me.
1979, Rolling Stone reports that inflation has ballooned the cost of making and promoting a major label LP to between $350,000 and $500,000. And back, that's 1979. $500,000, probably talking about $5 million now. So, you want to talk inflation?
1993, Beavis and Butthead, a show about two animated idiots who watch MTV. Debuts on MTV. And in 2008, China was set to impose stricter rules on foreign pop stars after Bjork caused controversy by shouting "Tibet, Tibet" at a Shanghai concert after a powerful performance of her song Declare Independence. Talk of Tibetan independence was considered taboo, of course, in China, never mind up on stage, which had ruled the territory since 1951. A spokesperson for the culture ministry said Bjork would be banned from performing in China if there was a repeat performance, and I'm surprised that she didn't get locked up for that. She's got balls to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but it couldn't have been any worse.
No different than Sinead ripping up a picture of the Pope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
look
she.
at Bjork, Sinead, and Madonna.
And
Three very prominent
and-
female
And what's the other?
disturbers.
The other one, 99 Lift Balloons, Nina or
Nina,
whatever,
no.
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
one, it was in the red balloon thing is a true story. Like it's,
Exactly.
and people don't realize that. I think there's a lot of people that didn't
Leave
catch
it
that
to
in
the
history.
musicians,
Absolutely.
Men and women.
And when you look at everybody that got on Sinead O'Connor, well, you look at where the Catholic Church is today, and all the sexual abuse charges, not just allegations, but actual charges, they're racking up, man, a lot.
Well, stuff that's been known about, they just kept sweeping
Well,
under the carpet.
exactly.
It's not being swept anymore.
And you can only the carpet's only so big, so it's going to bulge, and somebody's going to go, oh, what the hell is that? So anyway, moving on. 1977, French singer Claude François was electrocuted while changing a light bulb in his bathtub.
Yeah, figure that out. So he obviously had water. Who changes anything electric?
See the guy that had tears on the telephone?
Yeah, back in 1976.
Why in the hell would he do that? What a dummy. Did he die?
Hey, don't change a light bulb when you're on LSD, people.
Or psilocybin.
It's not the time. It's not the time.
What did Beck say?
He was quoted back in 1977 saying, "I choose to have one foot in the modern world and one in the past."
Yeah, I love Beck's stuff.
Like I said, there's a concert he does, and he comes out and he does 2 turntables and a microphone.
Oh, I love it.
I haven't seen that.
He's on a little Casio keyboard, a guy sitting on a pail, another guy with, I think it was just like a glockenspiel block, like the very basic of basic instruments. And they do two turntables and a microphone like this. They're sitting in like a semicircle. No instruments on stage, none. And they do, and I'm just like, and it was awesome.
Is it on YouTube?
I think so. I think you can find it on
I'll have to
YouTube.
go.
Yeah.
Because I've
And
actually got back saved in my favorite.
He comes
so.
out on this
Beck's
little
good.
Casio keyboard like your little grandson or something would
I
play,
can
right?
see that.
It is so wild. I love Beck. Everybody, to me, he's the modern version of Frank Zappa. Really, you know,
He's all over the place.
He's all over the place, but yeah, great guy.
talented.
I'll do this
Go ahead.
short one. 1939, Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians record Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, that's the original one. He was from London, Ontario.
Yes,
by
he
the way.
was,
A lot
that's
of people
right.
thought he was American.
No.
He was from London, Ontario, my son. This week in 1969, Led Zeppelin appeared at the Bluesville 69 Club at the Horsey Wood Tavern, Finsbury Park in London, England. The venue was a function room at the back of the pub and was so small that the stage was only just big enough for John Bonham's drums.
And John Bonham didn't have a lot of drums.
And the rest of the group had to stand on the floor at the same level as the crowd. Can you imagine that?
And that is a weird feeling as a musician. It's
Especially when you're Led Zeppelin.
yeah. Wow.
Well, in 69,
though,
they weren't even
They were
really...
just starting to.
So they had to put up with it, and there was no choice, really. I'll do this one, I guess. Or do you want to do this one? 1983? You go
Yeah,
ahead.
sure.
Go ahead.
The English new wave at that time duo Tears for Fears released their debut album, The Hurting, featuring the melodic Mad World, which is actually, we used to play that in this band. The album is inspired by the work of American psychologist author Arthur Yanoff, founder of the Primal Therapy. Yanoff, who believed in adult psychological issues were linked to repressed childhood trauma and could be overcome by grieving painful memories through intense crying and shouting called primal screaming. Gained notoriety when he treated John Lennon back in the early 70s. The idea of replacing fears with tears inspired Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith, saddled with their own troubled upbringings, to adopt the name Tears for Fears. The Hurting is steeped in Jovanoff's theories. The title track encourages people to get in touch with their deep-rooted pain and cry it out. Suffer the Children admonishes parents who are emotionally unavailable for their lonely children. And the standout track, Mad World, which was a #3 UK hit, by the way, features a detached teen who admits the dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. Yanoff believed nightmares were a therapeutic tool that helped the dreamer overcome the fears that they were too scared to deal with in the real world. And another track, Ideas as Opiates, literally takes a page from Yanoff's books, being a chapter heading from the 1980s Prisoners of Pain. So very deep rooted in Yanoff's philosophy when it comes to that album.
Well, when something tragic happens in your life, you're best to have a good cry, get it out of your system.
It's healthy.
It doesn't get it out of your
It is
system.
healthy.
Release.
It is
Don't
release.
stuff it down.
No,
Release it.
well, to me, it's no different than a laugh.
That's what I do with people.
Exactly.
That is that strong emotion.
And whether
you
you're
know,
a guy and you don't want to show emotion, you just have to sometimes.
then you go.
Always.
Then,
Not sometimes.
Doesn't matter.
That's the
Guy or
patriarchal society.
Yeah, you're right.
upbringing.
I hesitated and said sometimes.
The patriarchal
Because I'm a man.
upbringing is you don't cry, you don't show emotion, you have to be a man.
well, then,
Yeah. So wrong.
then you know what? You go in your own little room and you deal with
Yeah,
it.
you
your
deal with
way,
it your
you know.
way.
Get away
Yeah.
from,
Just
you know, like everybody says, you know, when a tragedy happens, you've got to have people around you and that support. And absolutely, sure you do. But you also have to have that alone time where you need to deal with your own emotions. And it's no different, like I said, you know, laughter is just as strong of emotion as crying is.
any release of emotion of any type.
Actually,
is,
crying is more of a
therapeutic.
powerful emotion than laughter, I
well,
think.
because you're letting out some very
You're letting
deep-rooted-
deep-rooted, horrible stuff.
So if you get a chance, listen to the Tears for Fears first album and really listen to it now. Because like I said, when we played Mad World, when I sat down and read the lyrics, because I sang backup on it, I was like, whoa, I had no idea the intensity that was in that song.
If you
And
take
when
songs apart, hit songs,
Yeah.
and look at them closely, there's a lot of stuff people don't know.
Yeah.
I've been
Tears
starting
for
to kind
Fears
of
was one
put
of
a
my favorite bands growing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very deep. Very deep.
very deep. All right. 2001, the National Endowment for the Arts and the Recording Industry Association of America revealed their list of the top 365 songs of the century, some of which are not songs but albums. Over the Rainbow is number 1, followed by White Christmas and This Land Is Your Land. And the project is part of a music education program with a curriculum distributed to 5th grade teachers. The students can hear the songs on a special service set up by AOL as well. There you go. A wee tidbit.
Still
Do a
around?
couple stuff. Yep. A wee tidbit. There are more than 600 active Elvis Presley fan clubs worldwide, including a group of parachuting Elvis impersonators called the Flying Elvi, of course. The longest running fan club is the French La Voix d'Elvis, founded in January 1956. And you go up to Collingwood in the summertime, and there's Elvises everywhere. You go in the local coffee shop, there's Elvis.
My ex-father-in-law
Yep.
placed 3rd.
Did he?
His first year he went there.
That's one of the
beautiful.
greatest weekends I've ever had in my
he
life,
was-
is going up to
I've never
He was
been
Collingwood.
to
good.
one.
Yeah, he actually got hired. He did Dean Martin as well, and he did 2-year stint in Vegas as Dean Martin, and people came up to him that knew Dean. He was, you put that glass and the cigarette in his hand and his garb on, you'd swear it was Dean. He had he had the mannerisms down perfectly. He had. Oh, it was incredible, but he's much older now. He doesn't do it anymore.
Tom Jones.
I know. His first concert was with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well, he went to see Jerry Lee. That was his first.
That was his first concert, yeah. But just kind of funny, you know.
He's actually did do some other
did.
work with him as time
As
went
time
on.
went,
yeah,
he did
actually
quite
he
a
did,
bit.
yeah, he did quite a bit with Jerry
He
Lee.
even did some. I saw him on Graham Norton show, and he was talking that
He was standing around the piano with somebody else. It was Jerry Lee, and
I know which one.
Jerry Lee was on the
I know
piano,
the
and he
picture
was
you're
standing. There's
talking
somebody
about.
else there
Yeah.
too, but I can't remember who it was. Another thing in my mind now.
Now you're gonna have me going crazy.
I
trying to
got to
figure
be
that out. I can't
Googling all
remember
night
who it
with
was.
all this stuff.
All right, we got to keep moving along. We're having so much fun.
That's right.
Yes, in 1961, a pre-monkey Davy Jones makes his acting debut on the British soap opera Coronation Street, playing Colin Lomax.
My mother used to watch Coronation
Oh,
Street
my
every
ex-wife,
morning.
the
Without fail, have a cup of tea and watch
dinner
Coronation
would be burning
Street.
on the stove, and she'd be watching the show.
Is she?
1970, comprising songs recorded before he was jailed for masterminding murders, a Charles Manson album called Lie, The Love and Terror Cult is released. That's 1970.
Wow. 1975 singer-songwriter Jim Sullivan disappears without a trace into the desert near Santa Rosa, New Mexico. His 1969 album UFO goes on to become a cult favorite, partly due to the way its eerie music and lyric intertwine with the story of Sullivan's mysterious disappearance. I'll let you wrap up the show.
All right,
with the
sounds
MTV
good.
story.
2001, MTV Cribs visit Redmond's 2-bedroom pad on Staten Island. Unlike the show's usual ostentatious fare, the rapper's modest crib is a testament to keeping it real. The highlights are his makeshift doorbell, which is signaled by crossing 2 exposed wires, a freezer full of Gorton's fish, and his cousin conked out on the living room floor, probably high.
And there's images of him holding a box full of cash.
Right.
He always had it because if he needed it, or
bit
he's
of
standing there showing the whole world.
No, that's crazy, man. And but yeah, that show was definitely ostentatious. You know, a lot of the houses on that are just way out of reality, like MTV Cribs. I remember when it came out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so. But a lot of fun. Great to be back. Thank you, everybody, for all the
you
questions.
know what? Yeah,
you know.
we didn't even say he was back, did we?
Yeah.
This week, oh, not this show.
On the other show we did.
Yeah.
But Lee's been gone for a few days or weeks, and he's back now.
They let me out.
They let him out where he was.
I broke him out and brought him today.
And he's back.
I gotta be in before dark and get my ankle bracelet
that's
back
right.
on. But you know, but yeah, thanks everybody for all the wonderful comments. And I'm fine. Just had some health issues need to take care of. And
When you get older, you know what I mean. Like I said earlier, you start passing wind more.
I've got a list of health issues. So
things like that. But
and that's the thing. I say to people that not everybody that's disabled is disabled looking. So be cautious out there, people.
And this week we're brought to you by Backdoor Jimmy's Mom's Spit Spray, which is it cleans anything. And it was, as a matter of fact, inspired by Leah Lywood, the famous radio producer and presenter from Canada. So we'd like to say thank you for Backdoor Jimmy. Did the check clear, by the way?
Yes, it did.
His check did clear. Backdoor Jimmy's check cleared. So here we go here. I look forward to this every week. It's the most stimulation I have all week.
Exactly.
Wonderful. When you're old and tired.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Have yourselves a great week, and join us next week for the Air Radio Loosey Goosey
Top 40 timeline.
Top 40 timeline.
Whatever you want to call this.
Whatever you want to call us.
And,
we've been called worse, so don't worry.
We'd like
about
to say hi to Amanda, who's in the wings, watching a few
Yes.
shows, and she's going to be jumping in doing some stuff as well. And we're going to get Leah back on the air too over here, and get
We should
her
actually
back
get them
on.
to do a show.
We should. Can you imagine that? We should do that.
We should try that.
All right, we'll do that, Leah.
There you go.
And we can stand and give you the finger. I'm over there.
Exactly.
My whip is hidden, just saying.
All right, let's get out of here.
Have a great week, everybody. Be safe on the roads out there, and we'll catch you on the B side.
The Mike Devine chimes.
Mark
Panopoulos invented the Loosey Goosey chimes, of course. Don't forget that. There we go.